committee stage, and this is the Agriculture Credit and Warehouse Receipts Bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2025, and the Zambia Deposit Insurance Corporation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 38 of 2025, and both to be considered at committee stage.
After consideration of those bills, we expect a resumption of debate on the motion of thanks, the President's address, a motion of 24th February 2026 that was moved by Chikankata Member of Parliament, Ms. Jacqueline Sabao, that the thanks of this Assembly be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the President's address.
And earlier on we had some announcements by the Honorable Madam Speaker, who crossed back to the floor of the House. Good afternoon. You are watching Parliament Television, and business of the House is expected to resume at 17 hours. However, a quorum has not been constituted, and therefore the bells are ringing now for the members of Parliament to converge back in the House in order for business to continue. It is a requirement that 56, which is about 1/3 of the House, have to be present in order for business of the House to continue. So for now, the bells will be ringing until a quorum has been constituted.
And so just now we look at some of the business that the House has so far considered from the time business commenced at 14:30. Madam Speaker did make some announcements. In one of the announcements, Madam Speaker acquainted the House with the presence in the Speaker's gallery of the following staff from the Parliament of Uganda: Ms. Namata Sovia, Liaison Officer; Mr. Mutumba Abbas, Policy Analyst; Ms. Nakasumba Fatina, Liaison Officer; and Ms. Lisima Catherine, Officer Assistant. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly received the distinguished guests and welcomed them to the National Assembly.
Madam Speaker also recognized the presence in the public gallery of councillors from various councils across the country, and these were from Nkaema Town Council in Western Province, Lundazi District Council in Eastern Province, Mkulu Town Council in Western Province, and also Kapirimposhi District Council in Central Province. So she did welcome the councillors to the institution.
In the other announcement, Madam Speaker recognized the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Rhodes Park School in Lusaka District, pupils and teachers from Monique Pre and Primary School in Lusaka District, and students from Supershine University in Lusaka District. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly.
Madam Speaker also did inform the House that the National Assembly has recorded a high number of members of the public visiting the institution to observe the sitting of the House, and she said that this is a positive development, especially that it is in line with the National Assembly Strategic Plan 2022-2026, Pillar 2 on public participation. And in view of this development, she informed the House that in order for the institution to smoothly coordinate these visits, members of Parliament who wish to bring visitors to the institution to observe the House should notify
Order. When business was suspended, the House was considering the private member's motion moved by the Honourable Member for Kafisa that this House urges the government to review and strengthen legal and administrative frameworks governing the acquisition of land by foreign nationals in Zambia, and the Honourable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources was responding to the motion. May the Honourable Minister continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I was responding to the motion on the floor and speaking to what government is currently doing to ensure that we strengthen legal and administrative frameworks governing the acquisition of land by foreign nationals. And some of the key reform measures which I articulated included reviewing the Lands Act, which is ongoing currently, strengthening due diligence and approval processes, digitization of land administration to improve efficiency, and also to ensure that there are no double allocations, and also to ensure beneficial ownership disclosures. And this relates to government working to ensure that companies acquiring land disclose their ultimate beneficial owners, thereby preventing abuse of corporate structures to circumvent restriction. We are also brought in the issue of how we are protecting customary land by strengthening guidelines governing the conversion of land, customary land, to state land. Madam Speaker, let me now emphasize that Zambia remains open for investment. Foreign direct investment plays a critical role in job creation, infrastructure development, and economic growth. However, investment must not undermine the land rights of our citizens or compromise national interests. The objective of these reforms is not to discourage genuine investors, but to ensure that land allocation is orderly, transparent, and beneficial to the Zambian people. Madam Speaker, way forward, the review process includes stakeholder consultations currently going on with traditional leaders, civil society, investors, members of parliament, and relevant government institutions. Once concluded, the proposed amendments to the Lands Act will be brought before this House for consideration. This is just to underscore that this motion, whilst well-intended, I just wanted to state that government is already 70% way ahead in this process. And therefore, members of parliament must submit to the committee that is going around the country on this important topic. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, let me hasten to mention that land is not merely a commodity. It is a heritage entrusted to us for present and future generations. The government of the Republic of Zambia is resolute in ensuring that the acquisition of land by foreign nationals is governed by a robust legal and administrative framework that safeguards national sovereignty, promotes equitable development, and upholds the rule of law. I therefore wish to assure this House and the Zambian people that the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources is taking decisive steps to review and strengthen the current framework in the best interest of our country through amending the current Lands Act. In that regard, I want to conclude by appealing to members of the public, to traditional leaders, to members of parliament, and all Zambians to take an interest in this important process. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Kamfinsa, wind up debate.
Madam Speaker, allow me to begin by thanking the Honourable Member of Parliament, Honourable Mutaya Chalo, for ably seconding this very, very important motion. Madam Speaker, the reason we bring issues to Parliament through this provision of our standing orders is to ensure that the decision of the House is put on record. And Madam Speaker, when the decision of the House is put on record, it simply means that it becomes a government assurance. And when it becomes a government assurance, Madam Speaker, there's a committee of Parliament which will now hold the executive to account. And that is why today, Madam Speaker, my submission is very simple and straightforward. We need to review the law. We need to review the administrative frameworks, Madam Speaker, to ensure that what is put on record, Madam Speaker, is what eventually happens. And I am a proud member of Parliament today, Madam Speaker, because unanimously we've all agreed that this is something that has to be done. Madam Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to present this motion, and I hope that we will see this particular amendment on the floor of the House. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Order. I put the question. The question is that this House urges the government to review and strengthen legal and administrative frameworks governing the acquisition of land by foreign nationals in Zambia. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. The clerk will now read the orders of the day.
The Agriculture Credits and Warehouse Receipts Bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2025, committee stage.
I now consolidate orders number 1 and 2, and the House will now resolve into committee.
The Agriculture Credits and Warehouse Receipts Bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2025. Clause 1, short title, any debate and objection? Clause 1 is agreed to. Clause 2, interpretation, any debate and objection? Clause 2 is agreed to. Clause 3, continuation of warehouse licensing authority, any debate and objection? Clause 3 is agreed to. Clause 4, functions of authority. Any debate and objection? Clause 4 is agreed to. Clause 5, board of authority. Any debate and objection? Clause 5 is agreed to. Clause 6, functions of board. Any debate and objection? Clause 6 is agreed to. Clause 6, director, registrar, secretary, and other staff. Clause 7, director, registrar, secretary, and other staff. Any debate and objection? Clause 7 is agreed to. Clause 8, prohibition of operating warehouse that issues warehouse receipts without license. Any debate and objection? Clause 8 is agreed to. Clause 9, application for license to operate warehouse. Any debate and objection? Clause 9 is agreed to. Clause 10, financial security for license. Any debate and objection? Clause 10 is agreed to. Clause 11, insurance relating to warehouse license. Any debate and objection? Clause 11 is agreed to. Clause 12, validity of license. Any debate and objection? Clause 12 is agreed to. Clause 13, display of license. Any debate and objection? Clause 13 is agreed to. Clause 14, variation of terms and condition of license. Any debate and objection? Clause 14 is agreed to. Clause 15, renewal of license. Any debate and objection? Clause 15 is agreed to. Clause 16, transfer of license. Any debate and objection? Clause 16 is agreed to. Clause 17, surrender of license. Any debate and objection? Clause 17 is agreed to. Clause 18, suspension or cancellation of license. Any debate and objection? Clause 18 is agreed to. Clause 19, re-registration. Any debate and objection? Clause 19 is agreed to. Clause 20, duplicate license. Any debate and objection? Clause 20 is agreed to. Clause 21, electronic warehouse receipt system. Any debate and objection? Clause 21 is agreed to. Clause 22, deposit of agricultural commodities for storage. Any debate and objection? Clause 22 is agreed to. Clause 23, deposit of agricultural commodities for purpose other than storage. Any debate and objection? Clause 23 is agreed to. Clause 24, insurance and lodgement of warehouse receipts. Any debate and objection? Clause 24 is agreed to. Clause 25, negotiable and non-negotiable warehouse receipts. Any debate and objection? Clause 25 is agreed to. Clause 26, negotiating negotiable warehouse receipt. Any debate and objection? Clause 26 is agreed to. Clause 27, rights acquired after negotiation of negotiable warehouse receipt. Any debate and objection? Clause 27 is agreed to. Clause 28, transfer of negotiable warehouse receipt without negotiation. Any debate and objection? Clause 28 is agreed to. Clause 29, rights of transfer of negotiable warehouse receipt. Any debate, any objection? Clause 29 is agreed to. Clause 30, alteration of warehouse receipt. Any debate, any objection? Clause 30 is agreed to. Clause 31, rights of purchaser of altered warehouse receipt against warehouse operator. Any debate, any objection? Clause 31 is agreed to. Clause 32, lost, stolen, or destroyed warehouse receipt. Any debate and objection? Clause 32 is agreed to. Clause 33, duplicate warehouse receipt. Any debate and objection? Clause 33 is agreed to. Clause 34, right of warehouse operator to sell or pledge warehouse receipt. Any debate and objection? Clause 34 is agreed to. Clause 35, warehouse operator's right to lien. Any debate and objection? Clause 35 is agreed to. Clause 36, enforcement of lien. Any debate and objection? Clause 36 is agreed to. Clause 37, lien on perishable and hazardous agricultural commodities. Any debate and objection? Clause 37 is agreed to. Clause 38, warehouse operators lien not to pursue other remedies. Any debate and objection? Clause 38 is agreed to. Clause 39, loss of lien. Any debate and objection? Clause 39 is agreed to. Clause 40, obligation of warehouse operator to deliver agricultural commodities. Any debate and objection? Clause 40 is agreed to. Clause 41, liability for damages caused by warehouse operators' failure to deliver. Any debate and objection? Clause 41 is agreed to. Clause 42, liability for deliver to person not entitled to deliver. Any debate and objection? Clause 42 is agreed to. Clause 43, asserting valid title to agricultural commodities. Any debate and objection? Clause 43 is agreed to. Clause 44, liability for failure to cancel or mark warehouse receipt after delivery. Any debate and objection? Clause 44 is agreed to. Clause 45, warehouse operators' duty of care. Any debate and objection? Clause 45 is agreed to. Clause 46, duty to keep agricultural commodities separately. Any debate and objection? Clause 46 is agreed to. Clause 49. Clause 47. Commingling of fungible agricultural commodities. Any debate and objection? Clause 47 is agreed to. Clause 48, termination of storage at warehouse operators' option. Any debate and objection? Clause 48 is agreed to. Clause 49, entry into contract for advance. Any debate and objection? Clause 49 is agreed to. Clause 50, lodgement of contract for advance. Any debate and objection? Clause 50 is agreed to. Clause 51, effects of contract of advance. Any debate and objection? Clause 51 is agreed to. Clause 52, rights and obligations of lender. Any debate and objection? Clause 52 is agreed to. Clause 53, duties of warehouse operator in relation to contract of advance. Any debate and objection? Clause 53 is agreed to. Clause 54, discharge of security. There's a lot of consultation going on, Honorable Member for Mpulungu. Honorable Minister, Honorable Minister of Northern Province, you are consulting too much. You are even turning with the Honorable Minister for Eastern Province. Yes. If they continue, they will go out. If they continue, I'll send them out. Clause 54, discharge of security. Any debate and objection? Clause 54 is agreed to. Clause 55, lodgement of disclosure schedule. Any debate and objection? Clause 55 is agreed to. Honorable Minister of Northern Province, may you leave the House? You drink water outside and come back. You are disturbing the business. Clause 56, application to correct material error in application to correct material error to disclosure schedule. Any debate and objection? Clause 56 is agreed to. Clause 57, types of agricultural charges. Any debate and objection? Clause 57 is agreed to. Clause 58, agricultural charges on farming, stock, and assets. Any debate and objection? Clause 58 is agreed to. Clause 59, registration of agricultural charge. Any debate and objection? Clause 59 is agreed to. Clause 60, effects to fixed agricultural charge. Any debate and objection? The question is that Clause 60 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that Clause 60 be amended with the words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 60 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate and objection? The amendment is agreed to. Clause 60 as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that Clause 60 be amended. I put the question. The question is that Clause 60 as amended stands part of the bill. As many as of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 60 stands part of the bill. Clause 61, sale of property subject to agricultural charge. Any debate and objection? Clause 61 is agreed to. Clause 62, effect of floating agricultural charge. Any debate and objection? Clause 62 is agreed to. Clause 63, notice of agricultural charge. Any debate and objection? Clause 63 is agreed to. Clause 64, restriction on publication of agricultural charges. Any debate and objection? Clause 64 is agreed to. Clause 65, fraud. Any debate and objection? Clause 65 is agreed to. Clause 66, supplementary provision in respect of agricultural charges. Any debate and objection? Clause 66 is agreed to. Clause 67, inspectors. Any debate and objection? Clause 67 is agreed to. Clause 66, honorary inspector. Any debate and objection? Clause 68 is agreed to. Clause 69, powers of inspector. Any debate and objection? Clause 69 is agreed to. Clause 70, compliance order. Any debate and objection? Clause 70 is agreed to. Clause 71, closure of warehouse. Any debate and objection? Clause 71 is agreed to. Clause 72, dispute resolution. Any debate and objection? Clause 72 is agreed to. Clause 73, registers. Any debate and objection? Clause 73 is agreed to. Clause 74, publication of copies of register. Any debate and objection? Clause 74 is agreed to. Clause 75, disclosure protection. Any debate and objection? Clause 75 is agreed to. Clause 76, appeals. Any debate and objection? Clause 76 is agreed to. Clause 77, immunity from execution of judgment against authorities' assets. Any debate, any objection? Clause 77 is agreed to. Clause 78, general offenses. Any debate, any objection? Clause 78 is agreed to. Clause 79, general penalty. Any debate, any objection? Clause 79 is agreed to. Clause 80, administrative penalty. Any debate, any objection? Clause 80 is agreed to. Clause 81, offense by principal officers of board corporate or incorporated board. Any debate, any objection? Clause 81 is agreed to. Clause 82, prohibition of publication or disclosure of information to an authorized person. Any debate, any objection? Clause 82 is agreed to. Clause 83, guidelines. Any debate, any objection? The question is that Clause 83 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that Clause 83 be amended with the words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 83 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate, any objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 83 as amended. Any further debate? I see none. I put the question. The question is that Clause 83 as amended stands part of the bill. As many as of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 83 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 84, regulations. Any debate and objection? Clause 84 is agreed to. Clause 85, appeals of Cap 204 and savings and transitional provisions. Any debate and objection? Clause 85 is agreed to. First schedule on page 52. Any debate and objection? First schedule on page 52 is agreed to. Second schedule on page 57. Any debate and objection? Second schedule on page 57 is agreed to. Long title. Any debate and objection? Long title is agreed to. The bill will be reported to the House having passed through the committee with amendments. The Zambia Deposit Insurance Corporation National Assembly Bill number 38 of 2025. Clause 1, short title. Any debate and objection? Clause 1 is agreed to. Clause 2, interpretation. Any debate and objection? Clause 2 is agreed to. Clause 3, non-application. Any debate and objection? Clause 3 is agreed to. Clause 4, establishment of Zambia Deposit Insurance Corporation. Any debate and objection? Clause 4 is agreed to. Clause 5, functions of corporation. Any debate and objection? Clause 5 is agreed to. Clause 6, delegation to agency. Any debate and objection? Clause 6 is agreed to. Clause 7, constitution of board. Any debate and objection? Clause 7 is agreed to. Clause 8, functions of board. Any debate and objection? Clause 8 is agreed to. Clause 9, Director General, Secretary, and other staff. Any debate and objection? Clause 9 is agreed to. Clause 10, membership corporation. Any debate and objection? Clause 10 is agreed to. Clause 11, cessation of membership to corporation. Any debate and objection? Clause 11 is agreed to. Clause 12, effects of cessation of membership to corporation. Any debate and objection? Clause 12 is agreed. Clause 13, initial one-off premium. Any debate and objection? The question is that Clause 13 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
I beg to move that Clause 13 be amended with words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 13 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate and objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 13 as amended. Any further debate? I see none. I put the question. The question is that Clause 13 as amended stands part of the bill. As many as of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 13 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 14, annual premium. Any debate and objection? The question is that Clause 14 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
I beg to move that Clause 14 be amended with words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 14 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate and objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 14 as amended. Any further debate? I see none. I put the question. The question is that Clause 14 as amended stands part of the bill. As many as of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. I repeat the question. I put the question. The question is that clause 14 as amended stands part of the bill. As many as of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 14 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 15, special premium. Any debate and objection? The question is that clause 15 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
I beg to move that clause 15 be amended with words as circulated.
The question is that clause 15 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate and objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 15 as amended. Any further debate? I see none. I put the question. The question is that clause 15 as amended stands part of the bill. As many as of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 15 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 16, risk-based premium. Any debate and objection? Clause 16 is agreed to. Clause 17, premium default. Any debate and objection? Clause 17 is agreed to. Clause 18, charge or transfer of premium. Any debate and objection? Clause 18 is agreed to. Clause 19, premium offset. Any debate and objection? Clause 19 is agreed to. Clause 20, extent of cover. Any debate and objection? Clause 20 is agreed to. Clause 21, coverage of joint accounts. Any debate and objection? Clause 21 is agreed to. Clause 22, coverage of trusts. Any debate and objection? Clause 22 is agreed to. Clause 23, coverage for corporate restructuring transactions. Any debate and objection? Clause 23 is agreed to. Clause 24, coverage for village banking accounts. Any debate and objection? The question is that clause 24 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
I beg to move that clause 24 be amended with words as circulated.
The question is that clause 24 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate and objection? The amendment is agreed to. Clause 24 as amended. Any further debate? I see none. I put the question. The question is that clause 24 as amended stands part of the bill. As many as of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 24 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 25, excluded deposits. Any debate and objection? Clause 25 is agreed to. Clause 28, reimbursement of secured deposits. Clause 26, reimbursement of insecure deposits. Any debate and objection? Clause 26 is agreed to. Clause 27, currency for reimbursement. Any debate and objection? Clause 27 is agreed to. Clause 28, limitation of claims. Any debate and objection? Clause 28 is agreed to. Clause 29, any debate and objection? Clause 29 is agreed to. Clause 30, inspections. Any debate and objection? Clause 30 is agreed to. Clause 31, powers of inspector. Any debate and objection? Clause 31 is agreed to. Clause 32, obstruction of inspector. Any debate and objection? Clause 32 is agreed to. Clause 33, deposit insurance fund. Any debate and objection? Clause 33 is agreed to. Clause 34, management of fund. Any debate and objection? Clause 34 is agreed to. Clause 35, accounts and audit. Any debate and objection? The question is that clause 35 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
I beg to move that clause 35 be amended with words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 35 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate, any objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 35 as amended. Any further debate? I see none. I put the question. The question is Clause 35 as amended stands part of the bill. As many as of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 35 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 36, annual report. Any debate, any objection? Clause 36 is agreed to. Clause 37, emergency funding. Any debate, any objection? Clause 37 is agreed to. Clause 38, general reserve fund. Any debate, any objection? Clause 38 is agreed to. Clause 39, subrogation. Any debate, any objection? Clause 39 is agreed to. Clause 30, collaboration with bank. Any debate, any objection? Clause 40 is agreed to. Clause 41, appointment of corporation as liquidator. Any debate, any objection? Clause 41 is agreed to. Clause 42, submission of information. Any debate, any objection? Clause 42 is agreed to. Clause 43, public awareness. Any debate, any objection? Clause 43 is agreed to. Clause 44, appeals. Any debate, any objection? Clause 44 is agreed to. Clause 45, general penalty. Any debate, any objection? Clause 45 is agreed to. Clause 46, administrative penalty. Any debate, any objection? Clause 46 is agreed to. Clause 47, offenses by principal officers of board, corporate or unincorporated board. Any debate, any objection? Clause 47 is agreed to. Clause 48, execution of judgment against assets of corporation. Any debate, any objection? Clause 48 is agreed to. Clause 49, guidelines. Any debate, any objection? Clause 49 is agreed to. Clause 50, regulations. Any debate, any objection? Clause 50 is agreed to. Clause 51, transitional provisions. Any debate, any objection? Clause 51 is agreed to. Schedule on page 27. Any debate, any objection? Schedule on page 27 is agreed to. Long title. Any debate, any objection? Long title is agreed to. The bill will be reported to the House, having passed through the committee with amendments. Madam, I have to report to the House that the Committee of the whole House has gone through the Agricultural Credits and Warehouse Receipts Bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2025 with amendments.
Day for consideration of the report.
Tomorrow, Madam Speaker.
Consideration of the report to be taken tomorrow. Next order.
Madam Speaker, I have to report to the House that the Committee of the whole House has gone through the Zambia Deposit Insurance Corporation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 38 of 2025 with amendments.
Day for consideration of the report.
Tomorrow, Madam Speaker.
Consideration of the report to be taken tomorrow. Next order.
Thanks the President's address, motion of 24th February, resumption of debate.
When the House adjourned on Friday, 27th February 2026, the House was considering the motion moved by the Honorable Member for Chikankata that the thanks of this Assembly be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the President's address. Any further debate? The Honorable Member for Kanchibia.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much for this opportunity to contribute to this very important motion reflecting on the President's address to this House, and via this House, the people of Zambia. Madam Speaker, values, morals is what defines any society. And in the President addressing this Honorable House, he made reference, first and foremost, to the importance of our unity, that we are one Zambia, one nation, and one people. Madam Speaker, the moment our nation, our country, loses its consciousness with regard to our unity and our coexistence, then we have lost our nation. And so it must be that this address is a constant reminder of who we are as a people. 73 tribes drawn from the different provinces of this country under one flag of one Zambia, one nation, and in emphasizing that yes, we are a nation, but we are also one people. That although we are many, we are one people. And that diversity must be used to enhance who we are, to strengthen the fabric of this republic on the foundations laid by our forefathers. We have seen that oftentimes than not, Madam Speaker, diversity has been used to divide, as opposed to us uniting ourselves around the different tribes and cultures and celebrating who we are in terms of heritage. And so in calling for national unity, Madam Speaker, the President was spot on. And this must be a constant reminder that on this journey of nationhood, the moment we lose track and sight of our unity of purpose, then we have lost our meaning and we have lost our contribution even as a body politic. Secondly, Madam Speaker, society is defined by its value system. And because society is a going concern, and that we are on this journey, and because we are on this journey, sometimes we'll disagree, and sometimes we'll not see things from the same page. But what must be a constant reminder is that we are one people. We are one Zambia, one people. Madam Speaker, in addressing this Honorable House, the President addressed himself to the scores that have been made on fronts such as the education sector. I represent a rural constituency, Madam Speaker, and in speaking to the District Education Board Secretary and benchmarking how the school feeding program is working, I can bring a report to this House, Madam Speaker, that the pupils in Kanchibia are benefiting from the school feeding program. That has resulted in improved attendance, and this is what the community expects us to do as leadership. Madam Speaker, from inception, I have been on the floor of this Parliament and elsewhere that the Constituency Development Fund is a necessary tool for developing our constituencies. It's a necessary tool for ensuring that we bring development closer to the people. It's an opportunity for us to rise above partisan politics and sometimes petty politics to address what is it that is good for the Zambian people. For the people of Kanchibia, the Constituency Development Fund has allowed us to construct a CBD. As I speak, we have a fully fledged civic center, courtesy of the CDF. Our people do not need to cover 130 kilometers to go to Mpika to find the next civic center. Thank you. Madam Speaker, from the time Kanchibia became a constituency, our constituency office was stationed in Mpika. Using the CDF, we have moved the constituency office right in Kanchibia with full parliamentary staff attending to the needs of our people and communicating with a member of parliament when he's in the house. Madam Speaker, when I became member of parliament, I found police officers operating from a tent. 2 months down the line, the officers were withdrawn from Kanchibia and we had zero police presence. As we speak, we have full police presence in Kanchibia and we have finished constructing their houses. We moved in a constituency, Madam Speaker, that had no mortuary. 8,800 kilometers squared with no mortuary. As we speak, we have one fully operational mortuary under Chief Copper. We are finishing another one in Impepo Chiefdom. Madam Speaker, when we speak about the need for us to work on our feeder roads, we are a rural district and a rural constituency, 8,800 kilometers squared. We cannot squander our time in this house focusing on politics. What we can do, Madam Speaker...
Honorable members, you may continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. For us as a people of Kanchibia, our time in this house is very precious because every minute counts in as far as the developmental scorecard is concerned. We are supposed to construct those bridges and construct and ensure that we rehabilitate our roads, bring water in these facilities. Madam Speaker, there's a lot that the power of the CDF has been able to do. This particular fund is apolitical, it's developmental, and calls on all of us to come together and say sometimes we can put politics aside and look at what is it that is good for the Zambian people. Honorable Mutolo is smiling because using the CDF, we have empowered the farmers. Kanchibia has a population of 25,000 farmers who must ordinarily be on FISIP. But we know with limited resources, only about 5,000 are on FISIP. The entire grant facility in CDF goes to buy agricultural inputs for our people. The loan facility has been used to support our farmers. And when you check their fields have performed very well. And so for us, Madam Speaker, this speech was very important, that we must continue to remind ourselves of who we are over and beyond our political differences. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Skongo.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to add a voice to the address of the President on the application of values and national principles. I think to start with, Madam Speaker, allow me to quote the President on page number 3, where he says, Madam Speaker, these national values and the principles are not just a constitutional requirement for us, but a moral compass that shapes our character and defines our identity. They provide guidance in our policy formulation and form a bedrock for the implementation of our policies. Madam Speaker, year in, year out, the President comes to National Assembly or to Parliament to address the nation on the progress made. So these values and the principles are very important, and important to the extent that they shape national development. Yes. And as a result, we need to take them very serious. So the President is coming here is not just to come and talk to the nation just for the sake of doing it. So what I want to emphasize here is we would like to see the practical application of the national values and the principles as they relate to how we implement our policies so as to achieve national development. And this afternoon, I want to demonstrate how the Republican President, President Hakainde Hichilema, has ably achieved this objective. Yeah. So when it comes, for example, to the aspect of equity, where you want to make sure that national resources are distributed equitably to the entire nation, we have seen him introducing CDF. And with the CDF, we have seen every constituency receiving this amount. Not only increasing it from 1.6 million, but now it stands at 40 million. But this 40 million goes to every constituency at the same time. And this is, I think, not the way it used to be. Where we can also talk about social justice, where he makes sure that when calamity falls our country, he makes sure that every person, regardless of the gender, regardless of location, regardless of the political affiliation, they are adequately attended to. Yeah. What do I mean? We had a drought that befell this country, and we saw how the president and his administration responded. They made sure that food was taken to all, everywhere, including the so-called strongholds of food. So everyone ate and no one starved. That is how it should be. We talk about social protection. We have seen how the president not only sticking to the number that was there before, he came in and saw that there is need to make sure that those who are vulnerable in our society are
there is an indication for a point of order.
Who is that? Is it
the Honorable Member for Lunte, what is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, thank you so much. Madam Speaker, I rise on a point of order on the Honorable Member who is on the floor of the House, the MP for Sikongo. Madam Speaker, this being a House of records, it is important that the records that we submit are true. Madam Speaker, my brother makes reference to equity and justifies the UPND policy for adhering to equity by the application of the CDF. Madam Speaker, my honorable brother knows very well that all constituents-based MPs here have got constituencies that differ in terms of population, in terms of wards, in terms of geographical features, and so on and so forth. If, Madam Speaker, you apply, for example, in this year's budget, 40 million per constituency, and that 40 million will go to all the constituencies, how can my honorable brother say that equal distribution of resources in extremely diverse constituencies translate to equity? Is it in order to mislead you, madam, mislead us, and mislead the people out there who are listening that there is equity in CDF when in fact what exists is equality? I seek your serious ruling, Madam Speaker.
What breach has been committed?
Madam Speaker, it is a very well-known fact that the data that we submit must be verifiable. However, Standing Order number 71 is applicable.
The Honorable Member for Lunte, when the Honorable Member for Sikongo was debating, he was using his own views. To him, when he talked about equal distribution of CDF, I'm sure we know what he meant. He meant that each constituency is given the same amount of money. It ended there. So those are his views. Whether it's not equal somewhere, it's not representing whatever, I think for us what we know, and for what was mentioned even by the President, is that all constituencies are getting the same amount of money. So the Honorable Member for Sikongo was actually not out of order. You may continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Before I was disturbed, my brother, who seems to be beat up to this moment after losing elections, I was trying to say that the president that we have is a president that has the interest of the entire nation at heart. And this, again, we can demonstrate. When he spoke about, when we talk about social justice, I was saying we need to look at every sector, gender as well inclusive. So when you talk about Bill 7, for example, that was introduced to the floor of this House, we have seen how the president wanted to make sure that women, the disabled, the youth are also heard in terms of their problems. That is making sure that you take care of issues to do with social justice. And I think, Madam Speaker, allow me to thank my colleagues from the left who were also able to join us to make sure that Bill 7 goes through. That is how it should be. Because our brothers and sisters demonstrated that actually they believe in the principle of social justice. And also they believe in our president, who is able to take care of us all, even as members of parliament, as we receive the national cake, even though some of them are trying to pull the other way. But we are aware that the president means well for this country. Madam Speaker, the other aspect that demonstrates that this president that we have is a president for everyone is the aspect of free education. He wants to make sure that all Zambians, all the children that we have, grow up educated so that they're able to contribute to the development of this country moving forward, including children of those, the likes of Honorable Kafaya. So we want to thank him for being a doer, a president who is practical. And I think I want to emphasize the aspect of practicability. The application of values and national principles should not just be rhetoric, but we should be able to link them to our policies that, of course, enhance national development. Madam Speaker, I can go on and talk about the aspect of cash for work. We saw how the president initially started and targeted cash for work to those constituencies or districts that were hard hit by the drought. But after some time, he realized that actually we needed to make sure that we expand the cash for work. And today, as we speak, cash for work is now in all the 116 districts of this country, including Lunte, yes. So all this talks about the fact that we have seen progress being made, practical progress, not just mere rhetoric, in as far as the application of values and national principles is concerned. Madam Speaker, I want to speak to something that really touches my heart, and which I think the president has emphasized from day one, which he also spoke about in his address, the aspect of national unity. And he keeps talking about national unity as a song because of its importance to national development. And I want to speak to my colleagues on the left that this aspect of national unity, we should take it very serious. Because this is what shapes and builds our nation now and even moving forward. So he has also demonstrated how national unity is supposed to be taken or considered. Today, we see our traditional leaders moving, traversing this country, the whole country, exchanging views and ideas, visiting each other, making sure that as a country, we should be one. So one Zambia, one nation, being seen from a practical point of view. And that is how it should be. So we should love one another, regardless of our tribe. We should love one another, regardless of our political affiliation. Because the politics that we practice should be one that is aimed at developing our country, not aimed at dividing our country. So those that are on the left, the PF, want to appeal to you that even as you go out there, even as we approach the elections on the 13th of August, preach the message of the president, the message of love, the message of non-violence. Because where you are coming from, you almost destroyed this country. Madam Speaker, finally, I want to say that let's pray for this president that we have. And this president that we have, we should give him the opportunity to continue even beyond 2031. Because he has demonstrated that this country is one, and he wants it to be one in everything, every aspect that you think about. President Hakainde Hichilema wants to make sure that Zambia is a country of love, a country of unity, a country that should be admired not only by ourselves, but even by those who are outside of this country. So, Madam Speaker, I'm very happy that the President came here to talk to us and talk to the nation about the application of national values and principles. Let's take this, all of us as a country, from family to those who are elected and to all the leaders, so that we move as one. I thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members, I have an announcement to make. I have received communication to the effect that in the absence of our Honor the Vice President, who is attending to other government business, the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Honorable Jack J. Mwimbu MP, State Council, has been appointed acting lead of government business in the House from today, Tuesday, 3rd March, until further notice. I thank you. The Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to add the voice of the people of Mpika to this very important subject. And Madam Speaker, this was a national address. I will therefore not restrict my debate to what is happening in Mpika parliamentary constituency. Madam Speaker, the President in his speech talked about national unity.
Order.
Madam Speaker.
There's an indication for a point of order. The Honorable Member for... You can go ahead. Katombola.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for according me an opportunity to raise a point of order. Madam Speaker, I rarely raise on points of orders. The two members, the member for Runte and the member from Mpika, the honorable members, have already debated. You can only debate once on the President's speech, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, is the honorable member from Mpika in order to debate again for the second time over the same President's speech? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Order. Because the Honorable Member has indicated to debate. Maybe that's why he mentioned your name. So, Honorable Members, we all know that under each motion or a question, we are just given one opportunity. So, the Honorable Member from Pika, you are not new in this House. You debated. Therefore, you shall not debate. Order, order. I shall consult. He debated? Okay. Order. I'm advised that in Pika, the records don't show that he debated. So the Honorable Member from Pika, you may continue. The Honorable Member for Lunte, what is your problem? Order, Honorable Member for Lunte. Unfortunately, we can't tell whether it's a point of order, but when there's a motion, when there are questions, when the names appear, unless if you stand and indicate, I'll know that it's a point of order. But if you are seated like that, I'll take it that you want to debate. So maybe that's why the Honorable Member thought that you were debating. So now that is clear, that is a point of order. Please indicate that is a point of order. Honorable Member for Lunte, I think we are behind time. If it's not a point of order, we can throw it away. You can just remove yourself from the gadget so that we make progress. The Honorable Member for Pika, you may continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I was talking about the point that the President talked about during his address of national unity. And I was saying that is welcome, Madam Speaker. However, it must be put into practice, Madam Speaker. You cannot unite the nation by way of mere words, rhetoric, Madam Speaker. It's not possible. Actions must speak to what is provided for under Article 259, Madam Speaker, even in the appointments to various positions in the Republic of Zambia. Madam Speaker, the President also talked about the rule of law. Madam Speaker, the rule of law means that no one is above the law. Madam Speaker, here, right here in our country today, when you are a member of the ruling party, you are above the law. When you are on the opposition side, Madam Speaker,
from Pika, can you produce evidence?
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for asking for evidence. Madam Speaker, in Kasama, during the recent by-election, UPND cadres went to a totaling center, fired guns, but innocent opposition members, Madam Speaker, have been arrested.
The honorable member from Pika, I said, can you produce evidence, lay it on the table, because you said UPND members are above the law.
They are, Madam Speaker,
produce evidence. Just bring the evidence
by
on
action,
the table.
Madam Speaker, I can bring all of them in here so that I come and demonstrate to the effect that
the
when these
honorable
ones...
member from Pika, you have failed to produce evidence. Can you please withdraw and then proceed with other issues? If you have no evidence, please... Pardon?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker,
point of order, Madam Speaker.
I withdraw and replace it with the selective application of justice. Madam Speaker, this is what is happening today. And, Madam Speaker, in the best interest of this debate, the President should have demonstrated that indeed is a Republican President for all of us and who is there to protect everyone regardless of their political affiliation. Madam Speaker, today we have two contentious laws that are seeing a section of society being arrested every day, and that is the Cyber Security and the Cyber Crimes Act. Madam Speaker,
the honorable member from Pika, who is arrested every day? Please, let's try to be factual, honorable member. And when you are talking about something, who is arrested every day? Be specific. Bring out the information.
Madam Speaker, I thank you so much. Madam Speaker, today's democracy cannot thrive with such draconian laws. Madam Speaker, the President should have demonstrated. And Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, I wanted also to touch on another issue of development. Madam Speaker, development is only discussed by ruling politicians, ruling party politicians, and those who are aligned to them. Madam Speaker, when you get on the ground, you are not going to find tangible capital projects, such as the construction of airports, roads, secondary schools, hospitals, name it. You go to Mchinga province, Madam Speaker.
The honorable member from
Central,
Pika,
Northwestern.
The honorable member from Pika, you are going off the report, and you are not factual in your debate.
Thank you.
You are not factual at all. Development is not talked only by the members of the ruling party. And there are a lot of projects that we are seeing. If it's in your constituency where there are no projects, please come out clearly. Don't generalize to say in the country there are no projects that are seen. So can you be factual for the last time?
Madam Speaker, I'm analyzing the presidential speech in which the president touched on national development. And when I'm analyzing that, I have to also bring facts. These are facts, Madam Speaker. Great North Road from Serenje to Mpika, up to Kasama, up to Chinsari, is in a dilapidated state. But when they come here and talk about development, what development are they talking about, Madam Speaker? And, Madam Speaker, the Zambian people have been suffering in the past 5 years. What do they, what message
Honorable member from Pika.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
Which Zambian
Point of order,
people
Madam
are
Speaker.
suffering?
Madam Speaker.
Again, you are not focused, Honorable member from Pika. If we go out and ask all the Zambians, are they going to tell you that they are suffering? You are not factual. Since the Honorable member from Pika is not focused and is not not factual at all, you are misleading the Zambians out there. Why didn't you please prepare yourself and take issues from the report? If you want to, if you've got examples from your constituents, bring them out, but you are now generalizing the whole country. That I cannot allow you, Honorable Member. I'll give chance to another member, the Honorable Member for Bwengwa, so that next time, when you are given an opportunity, be factual, because that is a requirement in this House. We have to be very factual.
Thank you very much, Honorable Madam Speaker, for allowing me to debate the presidential speech. Honorable Madam Speaker, this evening I just want to look at the patriotism and national unity which the President talked about. Madam Speaker, all what the President talked about, okay, the information which he shared with the Zambian people are very factual on the ground. Madam Speaker, if you look at the national unit, we should just start looking at, first of all, the way the cabinet is looking at. Look at the cabinet, Madam Speaker. If you look at the cabinet, the UPND government, which His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema has appointed, it is well balanced. It is no longer the way it used to be in the previous regime, where other provinces were neglected. So this is an indication enough that this president is trying by all means to unite the country. You can look at the entire cabinet. All the 10 provinces of this country are well represented. Madam Speaker, coming to the issue of also the CDF. The CDF, the President talked about it. When you look at the previous regime, Madam Speaker.
Member for Bwengwa, I'm going to get to the last point of order. Order. The Honorable Member for Lunte, that is the last point of order. What is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, thank you for giving me the last point of order. Madam Speaker, my honorable brother, MP for Bwengwa, he knows very well that, Madam, during the previous government, Southern Province, Western Province, Northwestern Province, PF got 0 MPs. And to become a minister, Madam, you have to be an MP. Madam Speaker, there were nominations. There were nominations, and all the provincial ministers were nominated from those provinces. Madam Speaker, is it in order when he knows that UPND has got MPs in Northern Province, UPND has got MPs in Central Province. UPND have got MPs in the Eastern Province. These people have voted in a balanced manner. Is it in order to praise a cabinet which is a crafting of the members of parliament who have been brought to this house courtesy of the Zambian people, and compare to a parliament where no MP came from those areas? Is it in order to make such utterances? I seek your serious ruling, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Member for Lunte, I didn't know that the issue was coming out from the Honorable Member for Wengwa, since you had indicated way back. Anyway, the thing is that, Honorable Member, I think for one to be a minister, he has to be an MP, whether nominated or elected by the people of Zambia. So I see no reason there why they were, well, I don't even want to go into those semantics, why there were no MPs from Southern Province, because the president had powers to choose anybody from all parts of the country, the 8 nominated members of parliament. So if he wanted, he could have taken 1 or 2 from Southern Province and appointed them as ministers. But like I said, I don't want to go into that. So, Honorable Member for Lunte, that point of order is not admissible. We make progress. The Honorable Member for Wengwa.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for helping me on this debate. I think the Honorable Member for Lunte, my brother there, I think his bitterness may kill him. I'm very much worried about him.
Just to continue
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, what I was trying to put on the table here is...
Order. The Honorable Member for Lunte, you may take your seat. The Honorable Member for Wengwa, just to withdraw that word bitterness and just continue with your debate. Just withdraw and continue with your debate.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. As you know me very well, that I'm a very kind man. I'll do as what you have just requested me to do. Let me withdraw the statement I made that the Honorable Member for Lunte, that is a bitter man and that bitterness is going to kill him. I withdraw it. Thank you very much. Let me proceed with my debate, Honorable Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on the issue of the cabinet, the unit which His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema has brought, in this country is very visible for every Zambian to see. Honorable Madam Speaker, if you look at our cabinet this time around, we have full cabinet ministers in all the 10 provinces of this country. This is what I meant, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in the previous regime, we had provincial ministers from other provinces who were not full cabinet ministers. But this time around, we want to thank His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema for uniting the country and for coming up with a rainbow cabinet. This is quite very good. Madam Speaker, coming to the issue of CDF. CDF, Madam Speaker, if you look at this time around, you are able to see that all the 156 constituencies this time around, they are able to receive CDF at once. Unlike what used to happen in the last regime, whereby only few selected constituencies used to receive a CDF. And the way, Madam Speaker, I was a member of Parliament from 2016 to date, Madam. Madam Speaker, from 2016 to 2021, I only received one full CDF, 1.4 million, and another half. So only one CDF out of the 5 years which were allocated, and sometimes the Zambian people do wonder where did that money go, which were allocated, and we used to allocate CDF money in this house. But that money never used to come to our constituencies. So it is very difficult, Madam, to understand some people who even say that we want the PF back, to rule this country in such a situation whereby we were ruled in a devilish manner. We are not going to tolerate that. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Bwengwa, the word devilish is unparliamentary. If you can withdraw that.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
And also,
let me withdraw the word devilish and replace it in a satanic manner, Madam Speaker.
That too is not accepted.
Madam, I withdraw it a satanic, in an evil manner, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I don't know if I can allow to proceed with my debate.
That word too is not acceptable.
Madam Speaker, unless I think all the words which I had in my head now, Madam Marks, I don't know what I can say, Madam. Maybe I can be helped by one of these people. Maybe I can use also my local language so that these people also can understand, Madam. I don't know.
The Honorable Member for Bwengwa, if you can't find a better word, just withdraw it. And can you be focused to the report?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I've gotten one word in an unholy manner. Unholy. Thank you very much, Madam. Madam Speaker, just yesterday, Madam Speaker, look at what our Republican President did. Something which has never happened in the history of this country. The President of this country, His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, invited all the councillors from all the 10 provinces of this country, where he had a discussion with them and they aired their grievances, and the President, for the first time, and the President was very kind to all the councillors who attended. And out of 1,800 plus councillors in this country, I think about 20-something or 26 councillors did not attend. And I was very much impressed, Honorable Madam Speaker, yesterday, where I saw the Honorable councillors yesterday from all the 10 beautiful provinces of this country, where they endorsed our Republican President that everybody is going to support His Excellency because of the way he has managed to drive this economy of this country. Madam Speaker, coming to some of the projects, capital projects which this government has done. Madam Speaker, look at the Lusaka-Ndola dual carriageway. It's a marvelous thing to look at. This is very good, Madam Speaker. Something which this previous regime did not do, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, look at the teacher recruitment. 42,000 in a period of 4 or 5 years. Something which has never happened in the history of this country. Madam Speaker, coming to the issue of selective justice, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this government is only arresting criminals. This government do not arrest saints, nor people who do follow the law of this land. They only arrest criminals. And there is no way, Madam Speaker, you can connive with the Minister of Finance to siphon money, coming here, you start buying helicopters, then you want those people to be moving freely. These are the issues, Madam. And Madam, we are not going to tolerate these people who are supporting criminals. And the Zambian people out there, please watch out for these people who are always in a habit of supporting criminals. Zambian people don't support criminals, and we must not bring back the criminals, those who plundered the national economy of this country. Madam Speaker, coming also, coming to the issue of the economy, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, look at the way the kwacha is performing against the dollar, something which has never happened in the history of this country. Madam Speaker, the kwacha against the dollar was trading at about 29 kwacha, but this time around it is at 18 kwacha, and it's still going down. This is a very good thing enough, and we must also thank the President. Madam Speaker, look at also the violence-free by-elections which we had recently. And Madam Speaker, look at also the Bill 7. Madam Speaker, finally, I just want to let this House know that I was chatting with my my brother from Lunte, where he said, when you hear us castigating this government, we don't mean it. This government is doing quite well, and the President is doing quite well. That please don't hate us. We are together in this fight. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Member for Nalolo.
Madam Speaker, I would like to thank you most sincerely for allowing the voice of Nalolo to contribute to the President's speech for the exposition of public policy. Madam Speaker, the President, in accordance with Article 9(2), addressed this House on values that are espoused in Article 8 of our Constitution. Madam Speaker, I would like to put it on record that the President's speech confirmed that the bedrock of our development is not devoid of recognition of national values and principles. Madam Speaker, in my debate, I would like to stick to 3 values found in Article 8 of the Constitution, namely morality and ethics, democracy and constitutionalism, and human dignity and social justice. Madam Speaker, the President did mention that strong families are the foundation of strong nations, and this is not arguable, and he made a clarion call on the end to child marriage. Madam Speaker, this August House passed in 2022 the Child Code Act, which criminalizes the marriages of children. It is important, Madam Speaker, to recognize this significant piece of legislation and to urge the executive to recruit child protection officers as required by the Child Code Act. Madam Speaker, I would like also to address my mind to democracy and constitutionalism. Madam Speaker, the President did mention that in the advancing of democracy in this country, this August House did pass a historic Constitutional Amendment Act, Bill number 7. Madam Speaker, I would like to emphasize that the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 7 was not about the President, neither was it about us, but it was about the country. And, Madam Speaker, with this consequential amendment, we have the inclusion of minority groups in this August House in the next session: the women, the youth, and the people with disabilities, persons with disabilities. Madam Speaker, it must be noted that I'd like to place it on record as one of those members who chaired the Select Committee or who participated in Constitutional Amendment Bill number 7, that there was serious consideration of what the people submitted through the Mushabati Technical Committee. Madam Speaker, I would also like to touch briefly on the fight against corruption. Madam Speaker, corruption has been endemic in this country, and the President did highlight or underscore the importance of establishing an economic crimes court where corruption cases should not exceed 6 months. Madam Speaker, this is commendable. We cannot have a country, Madam Speaker, where corruption takes away the very fabric of our society. Madam Speaker, I would like to agree with many sentiments from other colleagues that we do not have any political prisoners. We have elements who abrogated the law and have been locked up. So if the court addresses its mind to convicting people who've committed offenses, irrespective of those people having held public office, those cannot be referred to as political prisoners because they abrogated the law. So we cannot call for the release of criminals or people who abrogated the law. Madam Speaker, the law is blind, inclusive myself. If I abrogate the law, I must be subject to the law. Therefore, Madam Speaker, we commend the President for taking a firm stance on those that who commit abrogation against the law and hold public offices are indeed on their own. Madam Speaker, lastly, I would like to address my mind to issues to do with human dignity and social justice. Madam Speaker, the introduction of free education is one of the most important milestones that the President and his government have achieved. A return of over 2.5 million learners back to school shows you, Madam Speaker, the gap that was there. Madam Speaker, if these 2.5 million people were outside there, what were they doing? They were being deprived of education. Madam Speaker, dignity has come to our people because they can pursue excellence and pursue their life through free education. Madam Speaker, this story or the success of free education is a story that is undertold. It is not properly narrated. It is a success story. And I can speak for myself in the constituency that this is something that has changed the narrative. Madam Speaker, I would like to also conclude by thanking the President for assuring and guaranteeing to this nation peaceful 2026 elections, August 13, 2026 election. The President did assure the country that the continuous trajectory of no violence shall continue. And this is what we need. This is the kind of leadership that is inspiring that we need. Madam Speaker, there are a lot of issues, key issues, and very important issues that the President raised in his speech, but I would like to state that his speech was encouraging, inspiring, and sets the tone for a head of state who is in control of the country. Not a head of state who wonders what happened, but a head of state who knows and is providing leadership to this country. Madam Speaker, with these few remarks, on behalf of the people of Nalolo, I thank you.
Thank you. The last member, the Honorable Member for Dundumwezi.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to debate, and I just want to center my debate on 2-3 key issues that I feel the people of Zambia out there should understand properly. Madam Speaker, if you allow me to quote from page 15, the head of state said, and I quote, "We are delivering for the people of Zambia from a place of love and deep care." Madam Speaker, just reading this very short statement, it gives you the type of the president that we have in this country. A president who is delivering for the people of Zambia from a place of love and deep care. Let me put this in very simple terms for a lot of people to understand out there. I want, first of all, to say that the people of Zambia did not make a mistake to vote for this president. And the president did not make a mistake in forming government. And when I say forming government, I simply say appointing the ministers that are helping him or that are seated from a place of love. Madam Speaker, for so many years, this country has been grappling with a lot of challenges. And let me just talk about agriculture. I think we stood up here in this house so many years advising our colleagues what is agriculture is all about, what things or what ingredients were required for them to ensure that the Zambian people can take agriculture as business. But they never adhered to. And here's a government that now comes in and assemble itself to look at what ingredients are we going to bring to the agriculture sector to ensure that the country thrives. And things are very clear, Madam Speaker. Just the other year, they called the Honorable Minister of Agriculture so many filth names out of things that he had no control of. They called this government a lot of filthy names out of the deficiency in energy sector that we had no control of. But look at this government. Despite all those challenges, they sat down from a point of love and said, how do we come out of this quagmire of the shortages of energy? They brought in the issue of the solar energy. Do we still have the blackouts, Madam Speaker? No. The question is no. Yeah. Why? Because we have an intelligent government. We have a government that understands all the corners of this country. We have a government, Madam Speaker, that listens from other people with bright ideas, and then they're able to come out with solutions that helps us. Madam Speaker, I'm one of those who doesn't even know when I have power or there's power in my house, because I took heed of the President's advice. And a lot of us, Madam Speaker, if you went around Lusaka, Madam Speaker, you'll see a lot of people adhering to that. We have gone solar. And this has reserved energy to industries. If you ask the Honorable Minister for Mines, he's not complaining about now blackouts in the mining industry. This is why the mining is now thriving, Madam Speaker, because we have enough energy for its operations. We have the largest harvest, 2024-2025 season. Yes, we had a few challenges, but look, because the government sits from a point of love, today no one is speaking about not being paid. Enough money. Money is never enough, but at least they did their best. Let me just come a little bit to livestock. Let me tell you that if I can use a terminology that was used by another man, your predecessor, he said, livestock gonna be sexy in few years. And I think with this government, we are able to see. In short, in fact, if you don't know, let me tell you that the Minister of Livestock and Fisheries, they are coming up with a program of embryo transfer. A program that is so technical, probably a few of us would understand, and the Minister of Livestock, where you are able, Madam Speaker, to select semen from certain animals. If you want 100 heifers All your animals, Madam Speaker, will only give you female. If you want steers, all your animals will give you steers. This is where this man is driving this nation in his ministry. What kind of leadership are you looking for, apart from the current leadership? I just want to urge the people of Zambia that we need to give space to this government to work. After all, Madam Speaker, we were the first one to show the country outside there by unanimously voting for Bill 7. So I want to ask the people outside that please vote for UPND. If you want better quality in terms of agriculture, livestock, healthy, mention it. These people that you see in front, they are capable. All they need is our support. So come 13th of August, vote for UPND for a better Zambia. I thank you.
The acting leader of government business adjournment.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the House do now adjourn.
The question is that the House now adjourns. Any debate? Any objection? The question is agreed to. The House is now adjourned.
Thank you very much for staying with us on Parliament Television. Business of the House has been concluded. And before we end our live broadcast for today, we have a look at what has been discussed on the floor of the House from the time business started at 14:30 hours.
In one of the announcements, Madam Speaker acquainted the House with the presence in the Speaker's gallery of the following staff from the Parliament of Uganda. The first one, Ms. Namata Suvia, Liaison Officer, Mr. Mutumba Abbas, Policy Analyst, Ms. Nakasumba Fatina, Liaison Officer, and Ms. Yalisima Catherine, Officer Assistant. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, received the guests and warmly welcomed them to the National Assembly.
The Honourable Madam Speaker also recognized the presence in the public gallery of councillors from the following town councils: Nkeema Town Council in Western Province, Lundazi Town Council in Eastern Province, Lukulu Town Council from Western Province, and Kapirimposhi Town Council, Kapirimposhi District Council from Central Province. So on behalf of the National Assembly, the Honourable Madam Speaker welcomed the visitors to the institution.
In the other announcement, Madam Speaker recognized the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Rhodes Park School in Lusaka District and pupils and teachers from Monique Pre and Primary School in Lusaka District, and also students from Supershine University in Lusaka District. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly.
And in another announcement, the Honourable Madam Speaker informed the House that the National Assembly has received a record high number of members of Parliament coming to visit the institution to observe the sitting of the House. And she said that this is a positive development, especially that it is in line with the National Assembly Strategic Plan 2022 to 2026 and Pillar 2 on public participation. And in view of this development, the Honourable Madam Speaker informed the House that in order for the institution to smoothly coordinate these visits, members of Parliament who wish to bring visitors to the National Assembly to observe the sitting of the House should notify the Public and International Relations Department at least 2 weeks before the visit. She did say that this will ensure that the visits are well coordinated, organized and beneficial to the visitors. She added that this will also enable her office to welcome and correctly recognize the visitors in the galleries.
After those announcements by Madam Speaker, the House went on to consider question for oral answer number Understanding Order 82. And the first question on the order paper today, this is question 233, came from Bangweulu Member of Parliament, Mr. Kasandwe. His question was directed to the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. He wanted to find out a question in three parts. In part A, whether the government is aware that the following sections of the Kantansha-Twingi Road in Bangweulu Parliamentary Constituency have been washed away, thereby cutting off communities and disrupting access to essential public services. These are Chinsaka Miloke and Ulongwa Chinsaka. And the Minister of Infrastructure and Housing and Urban Development did say that government is aware of the development. In part B, he wanted to find out if so when the road will be repaired to restore connectivity and ensure access to essential public services. The minister indicated that the government through RDA will undertake repair works once funds are made available. In part C, the Member of Parliament for Bangweulu wanted to find out whether the government will consider creating a temporarily detour while awaiting the repair of the road to ensure connectivity. The minister did say that the government through Road Development Agency will undertake remedial works, including a possible detour, in order to maintain connectivity and improve passability.
And we had another question coming from Mr. Mlenga Fuve, Member of Parliament for Chiluvi, and this question was posed under Standing Order number 80, and the question from Mr. Fuve was directed to the Minister of Finance and National Planning, in which he wanted to know the number of toll gates that were there countrywide as of August 2025. And part B of the question, how much revenue was raised on average, which was collected from each of the toll gates per month, and part C, what the revenue collected is used for, and in response to this question, the Minister of Finance and National Planning informed the House that the total number of toll gates countrywide was 50, and the revenue that was collected on average as of November 2025 was 337 million from each of the toll gates. And part C, what the revenue is used for, the minister did inform the House that the revenue is used in the construction, rehabilitation and maintenance of roads in line with the Toll Act number 13 of 2011.
So those are just some of the questions that have been considered on the floor of the House today. After consideration of questions for oral answer, the House went on to consider a private member's motion that was moved by Kamfinsa Member of Parliament, Mr. Christopher Kangombe. This was titled Review and Strengthen Legal and Administrative Frameworks Governing the Acquisition of Land by Foreign Nationals in Zambia, that this House urges the government to review and strengthen legal and administrative frameworks governing the acquisition of land by foreign nationals in Zambia. And this motion was seconded by Chairman North Member of Parliament, Mr. Yota Mutaya Chalo. And after debate, this motion has been adopted.
And after consideration of the private member's motion, the House went on to consider two bills, and the first one was the Agriculture Credits and Warehouse Receipts Bill, National Assembly Bill number 34 of 2025, which was considered at committee stage. And consideration of this bill has been done, and the report is expected to be taken tomorrow, which is Wednesday, 4th March 2026. And then the House also considered the Zambia Deposit Insurance Corporation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 38 of 2025, which was also considered at committee stage. And the report stage is expected to be taken tomorrow, Wednesday, 4th March 2026.
After consideration of those bills, there was a resumption of debate on the motion of thanks, the President's address, a motion of 24th February 2026 that was moved by Chikankata Member of Parliament, Mr. Jacqueline Sabao, that the thanks of this Assembly be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the President's address. And we've seen members of Parliament debating this motion.
Yes, we had quite a number of members of Parliament, Matimba, adding their voice to this motion that was being debated. We had Kanchibia Member of Parliament, Mr. Sunday Chanda. We also had Mr. Francis Kapianga, Pika Central Member of Parliament. We also saw Wengwa Member of Parliament, Mr. Kasauta Michelo, add his voice to this motion, as well as Nalolo Member of Parliament, Imanga Wamunyima, Dundumwezi Member of Parliament, Edgar Singombe, are some of the members of Parliament that added their voice to the motion that was being debated on the floor of the House. So that is the business that has been discussed on the floor this afternoon. And so we thank you so much for being with us on Parliament Television. We hope that you join us again tomorrow as we bring to you live proceedings right here at Parliament Studios. So from all of us here at Parliament Studios, we wish you a lovely evening.
As we prepare to commemorate the National Youth Week 2026 under the theme Arise and Soar, this theme is not just a slogan. It is a call to action and an acknowledgement that we can all do more to help every young person to fulfill their true potential. You have often been told that you are the leaders of tomorrow. We believe you are the leaders of today. Our message is clear.